ode on the installation of His Royal Highness Prince Albert as Chancellor of the University of Cambridge, July 1847 by William Wordsworth. Introduction and chorus. For thirst of power that heaven disowns, for temples, towers, and thrones, too long insulted by the spoiler's shock, indignant Europe cast her stormy foe at last to reap the whirlwind on a Libyan rock. Solo. Tenor. War is passion's basest game, madly played to win a name. Up starts some tyrant, earth and heaven to dare, the servile million bow, but will the lightning glance aside to spare the despot's laureled brow? Chorus. War is mercy, glory, fame, waged in freedom's holy cause, freedom, such as man may claim under God's restraining laws. Such as Albion's fame and glory, let rescued Europe tell the story. RECIT. Accompanied, CONTRALTO, but lo, what sudden cloud has darkened all the land as with a funeral pall. The rose of England suffers blight, the flower has drooped, the isle's delight, flower and bud together fall, a nation's hopes lie crushed in Claremont's desolate hall. Air, soprano, time a checkered mantle wears, earth awakes from wintry sleep, again the tree a blossom bears. Cease, Britannia, cease to weep. Hark to the peals on this bright May morn, they tell that your future queen is born. Soprano, solo and chorus. A guardian angel fluttered above the babe, unseen. One word he softly uttered, it named the future queen, and a joyful cry through the island rang, as clear and bold as the trumpet's clang, as bland as the reed of peace. Victoria be her name. For righteous triumphs are the base whereon Britannia rests her peaceful fame. Quartet time, in his mantle's sunniest fold, uplifted in his arms the child, and, while the fearless infant smiled, her happier destiny foretold. Infancy, by wisdom mild, trained to health and artless beauty. Youth, by pleasure unbeguiled from the lore of lofty duty. Womanhood is pure renown, seated on her lineal throne. Leaves of myrtle in her crown, fresh with luster all their own. Love, the treasure worth possessing, more than all the world beside, this shall be her choicest blessing, oft to royal hearts denied. RECIT. Accompanied. Bass. That eve, the star of Brunswick shone with steadfast ray benign on Gotha's ducal roof, and on the softly flowing Linie, nor failed to gild the spires of Bonn, and glittered on the Rhine. Old Camus, too, on that prophetic night was conscious of the ray, and his willows whispered in its light, not to the zephyr's sway, but with a Delphic life, in sight of this auspicious day. Chorus. This day, when Granta hails her chosen lord, and proud of her award, confiding in the star serene, welcomes the consort of a happy queen. Air, contralto, prince, in these collegiate bowers, where science, leagued with holier truth, guards the sacred heart of youth, solemn monitors are ours. These reverend aisles, these hallowed towers, raised by many a hand august, are haunted by majestic powers, the memories of the wise and just, who, faithful to a pious trust, here, in the founder's spirit sought to mold and stamp the ore of thought in that bold form and impress high that best betokened patriot loyalty. Not in vain those sages taught, true disciples, good is great, have pondered here their country's weal, weighed the future by the past, learned how social frames may last, and how a land may rule its fate by constancy inviolate, though worlds to their foundations reel the sport of factious hate or godless zeal. Air, bass, Albert, in thy race we cherish a nation's strength that will not perish while England's sceptred line true to the King of Kings is found. Like that wise ancestor of thine who threw the Saxon shield o'er Luther's life, when first above the yells of bigot strife the trumpet of the living word assumed a voice of deep portentous sound, from gladdened Elbe to startled Tiber heard. Chorus. What shield more sublime e'er was blazoned or sung, and the prince whom we greet from its hero is sprung. Resound, resound the strain, that hails him for our own. Again, again, and yet again, for the church, the state, the throne. And that presence fair and bright, ever blessed wherever seen, who deigns to grace our festal rite, the pride of the islands, Victoria the Queen.